years of tradition in this country. You want to come to Denmark and have food from a country that's been a nation for 1,500 years. This is right. This is what they eat. Years ago, starting out in the Middle Ages, herrings came in plentiful. The story is that you could just back your cart out into the water outside of Copenhagen and shovel the herrings on the cart. You didn't need a fishing. But can you find anything more tasteful?
No.
Let's snaps.
Let's snaps. I'm gonna get up if I keep doing this.
For me, that's Denmark. That's Denmark right there. More Danish food.
More Danish food, traditional Danish food.
As a chef, I need to stay curious in order to evolve. For me, that means looking beyond a good meal to learn more about who made it and what inspires them to cook. Every great city has great food. I'm going on a journey around the world. I'm on a quest to find passionate chefs who cooks from the heart, to prove that food is love.
Gotta be delicious.
Food is love. Love your food.
To quote Ray Liotta's character Henry Hill from the Scorsese classic Goodfellas, as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a chef. I grew up admiring guys like Bo Jacobsen, Klaus Christensen, my mentor Jan Petersen, and of course, my dad. It was a golden age of food in Copenhagen, an era of giants whose work and standards I'm still trying to live up to today. They were respected. They did things the old way. They taught me the rules that come to define me. But time waits for no one, and errors, no matter how beautiful, eventually change in the name of progress. Does the Denmark I remember still exist? Entangled in my own journey, I've been away from Copenhagen for too long, but like the siren's call to the sailors of old, I felt the calling to come home again. With the advent of new Nordic cuisine, restaurants like Noma and Geranium has become the face of Danish food. But what about the giants? What about the old way? Has progress replaced the tradition that I so fondly remember? To help me find out, I've enlisted the help of my friend, author and chef, Bo Jacobsen. Bo's area of expertise is traditional Danish food, so if anyone knows where to find what I'm looking for, it's him. And to start our exploration, I'm meeting him here at Reminiscing. This restaurant has served classic Danish lunch since 1877. Bo says this is the place for real Danish open-faced sandwiches for lunch. This is the place where they can really tell us about the origins and the history of open-faced sandwiches, which makes Denmark unique. This is as close to heaven as you can get as a Dane. Look at all this schnapps, which is the liquor we always drink with open-faced sandwiches. This is a very, very impressive collection.
Classic smørrebrød. This is, for me, the best place to go.
Welcome to Reminiscing. Everything that we serve here is open-faced sandwiches. But actually that is a wrong translation, because the right translation would be buttered bread.
Okay.
So smørrebrød is buttered bread. Since the Vikings we have been eating rye and fat, and then we became more sophisticated and we baked bread and made butter. And then the richer we became, the more we put on top of the butter. So when you look at the menu today, you will find we are quite rich. There are more than 80 pieces on the card, and that's because we are a smørrebrød kitchen, a smørrebrød restaurant. If you go to the more modern, they will have about 24. So our pieces are more simple, but we have really many choices. Yeah.
Good.
And I think we start with beer, because we don't have grapes in Denmark. We have grain, so we make beer.
Oh, looking good.
So this is our tomato herring with the creme fraiche and onions. And this is our shrimp pyramid.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you know, we have a saying, fish has to swim 3 times. First time in the sea, second time in the marinade, and last time in the aquavit.
Yeah, this is such a great saying.
Shall I choose an aquavit for you?
That will be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, this is a good start.
Okay, now I know why Bo brought me here. The shrimp pyramid is mesmerizing, and the tomato herring smørrebrød is like a page out of a foodie fantasy. Being in America for the last 35 years, I've kind of forgotten about this aspect. Racing a toast and essentially taking a shot before eating.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, look at
And
it.
my grandmother, she always said, pour it
my.
with love, because then I can give it a kiss without hands. And Bo knows what I mean.
Yes. So there are two ways to do this. One is either to lean over the table and go, or the other one is to try to lift it very steadily without spilling anything. But this is actually poured above the edge of the...
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah, so because of the suspension of the surface of the liquid,
Yeah.
it's above it.
Well, so what do you suggest? Lean over
I
and...
usually try to see if I can make it.
Okay.
You did make it. Bravo.
It burns going down, but it warms you up.
There's a few ingredients. It's really simple, but everything is so well prepared and so good. You know, my recollection and knowledge of you when I lived here was you were like one of the star chefs of new Danish cuisine, right? Or French cuisine. So how did you manage to learn all these things about Danish food?
And when you start out and you're young, you think you know everything. New French cuisine was the shit. So of course that was the only thing that existed in my life. But as I grew older, I started having a broader vision of what food was, and I recognized that New French cuisine was a wonderful cuisine, but it wasn't Danish. And then I started looking into my own history, our oral history, and just discovered that there was so much that had been left behind. It pains me to see that the young people today are so infatuated by new Nordic cuisine that they've just completely left out their own heritage. I think it's a pity. I think they're missing out on so much.
De går og tørster i sommervarmen, de bøjer armen, nu ingen snakken, tilbage med nakken, og lad os smage på kippernakken.
This is a traditional folk song,
Yeah.
and it's about drinking the schnapps. And we have a lot of those songs in Denmark.
Food is a great gateway to try new things.
Food is the best gateway. Do you want to come to Denmark and have falafel and pita bread and pizza? No, you don't.
No.
You want to come here. You're going to come here today for lunch and have this and think, oh my God, the world is so much bigger than I thought. This is ethnic food from a country that's been a nation for 1,500 years, and this is right, this is what they eat.
The food keeps coming, and with each new dish comes another schnapps. While Bo has clearly proven to me that a wonderful array of traditional smørrebrød can still be sourced in Copenhagen, I can't help feeling the gauntlet of schnapps and beer that I just consumed at 10:30 in the morning, no less. Maybe it's some kind of reinitiation, but even so, it must have worked. This meal has made me proud to be Danish.
Should we snaps?
Yes. Should we schnapps? That's a good term. I like that.
It's now been introduced to the world.
Yeah.
Let's snaps.
Let's snaps. But in hopes of escaping further initiation, I have planned to meet Bo for dinner later. For now, I'm striking out on my own to check out Omen's 1921, a Michelin star restaurant from the innovative mind of restaurateur Adam Omen, known as the king of Danish smørrebrød. Here, smørrebrød has been reimagined to a modernized version of the classics. I'm curious to see what it is that makes it different and find out just how much has changed since I left. Besides, I have already eaten the equivalent of 2 meals and 6 snaps. More smørrebrød is all that makes sense, right? The first dish is a vegetarian smørrebrød.
One of our first vegetarian pieces, and that's very classic, potato, combined with a lavage, mayonnaise, emulsion, pickled onions, and then we do a mixture of a lot of fermented kind of different vegetables, where you have gooseberries, you have some chopped stems, so it brings a lot more flavors to the palate. On top, potato chips, so very classic, and powder made of lavage as well.
That is really good. Vegetarian smørrebrød turns out to be incredible. a bunch of new flavors that I haven't had before with smørrebrød.
And here the chicken salad. It's organic chicken. We mix with a nice dressing with yogurt. And then on top, very beautiful organic courgette and a mix of herbs and crispy chicken skin.
While it's a departure from the shrimp and herring I just had at Schönemanns, to me the approach here is not encroaching on the old traditions at all. And as I'm coming to expect, schnapps is part of the meal. There is no escaping it. Here, that means house-made infusions and flavors made to pair with specific dishes. It's elegant and quite delicious. I think this is number 6. I gotta be real careful.
Rye bread snaps is made like with toasted rye bread, roast them for 1.5 hours, so they get like a really good caramelized and depth in the flavor that fits really nicely with the chicken fillet.
These kind of ideas are important in some ways to keep tradition alive and well enough to stay relevant in changing times.
So next piece is a vegetarian, is a tomato. Of course they are Danish as well. So that's different type of tomato. There's some marinated with a vinaigrette and tarragon that goes well with the tomatoes. To bring the fattiness, we fried the rye bread, and plus we did a nice cheese emulsion, cheese mayonnaise.
Okay.
And extra cheese just to make sure it tastes good.
With a different approach to flavors and texture, and what seems like an emphasis in including vegetables, this modern version of smørrebrød makes a lot of sense to me, like a necessary evolution. Wow, that's very interesting. Skål. I'm gonna get f***ed up if I keep doing this.
We all need food to survive. Food is nourishment. Food is familiar. But what happens when you don't know when or where your next meal is coming from? Last year, over 49 million people received help from Feeding America's 200 partner food banks, sourcing and distributing healthy, nutritious food. We all need food to survive, but also to thrive. To find your nearest food bank and help make a difference, visit feedingamerica.org, because above all,
while I may have met my physical limit of schnapps and smørrebrød, I am still hungry to know more about the thought behind this. I better go talk to the guy that's responsible for all this stuff. So I'm headed to hear it from the king himself. Outside of a busy kitchen, there is probably no better place to have a chat with Adam Omen than in his garden. A quiet neighborhood outside the bustle of town, Adam tends to his crops.
I love thyme.
Yeah, me too. That's like the onion of herbs, I would say also. This is like our front garden.
Okay.
So in Denmark you would have a lawn and you would have some stout or some bushes with flowers. That's it.
Okay.
This is me. I did this with my wife. And this is how it should be, I think. I mean, why have a lawn? Are you playing football? Or 100 years ago you didn't have lawns like we do now. You would grow your own food.
Yeah. So are you classically trained, I mean, as a chef?
Yeah.
So how did you go from doing that and then focus on open-faced sandwiches or smørrebrød?
Well, I always had this love to the Danish lunch traditions, because I think it's there where we have the strongest ideas, the strongest foundation of something special that is uniquely Danish. If you compare us to classic smørrebrød restaurants, we have a very small menu. The classic smørrebrød restaurant, they will reuse some of the ingredients and other pieces of smørrebrød. Also be like eggs with shrimps, eggs with tomato, eggs with mayo, eggs with blah, 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 blah. Our smørrebrød consists of 12, 13 pieces. And everyone is different. We don't reuse maybe a pickled onion, but very seasonal. And then you can think that every piece of smørrebrød will have at least 5 to 6 techniques put inside it. So it's kind of a large menu. And I can tell you one thing that we actually are really keen on developing the most is bringing more greens into the smørrebrød. Vegetables means a lot on every piece because, I mean, it gives flavor. Back in the days, you would not have a vegetarian smørrebrød. You have the kartoffelmad, which is big. You have the tomato piece, and that would be pretty much it. So we have like a huge possibility to sort of get new classics going regards to smørrebrød based on greens. What I heard all the old chefs saying when I was young, let the garden do 70% of the work, and you just do the rest. And I've been picking, I think, 12 kilos of beans from 10 plants. And you see, they don't take a lot of space. I mean, it's people are saying, oh, you need to take care of your garden. Yeah, but you could also just let it grow. I mean, look at this.
You got to respect his connection to the process. I mean, the guy picks apples in his backyard and has grapes growing in his greenhouse.
A fantastic taste. Take the red spot. This is my favorite apple.
He's only looking to refine traditional smørrebrød, stretch its boundaries in a way that really makes sense.
You know, we get so engulfed in our hospitality life that we don't have time for anything else, but it's good to do something.
I think this is the best thing to do. Just get your hands in some dirt.
Yeah, I love it. It was a pleasure.
For me as well, Lasse.
And food is love, remember that?
Yes.
Yes. Hopefully you'll come over and see me sometime.
I would love to come to Illinois.
Yeah.
Being invited to spend the morning here has been an honor. Although his dog doesn't seem happy I'm here. When I think back to what Juliet at Schønemann said about smørrebrød starting out just butter and bread, in a sense it's always been changing. No television show with any respect for its viewers would ever think of making a Copenhagen episode without including the obligatory mermaid scene, where I walk along the shore, seemingly in deep thought about my journey thus far.
One time somebody stole her head, cut it off and stole the head, and I don't know the story about how they got it back or if it's a new head, but I was told that if you kiss the mermaid, you get married well.
In reality, the beer and schnapps I've had today has made it into my bloodstream.
It's good walking after all this food, after all this akvavit.
As I wade through the nest of tourists waiting to snap their picture, it occurs to me, smørrebrød only covers lunch. What about breakfast and dinner? Clearly, I have more work to do. There's been a lot of food and alcohol already today, but I'm ready to face my fate. I'm meeting up with Bo again for dinner.
I gotta make room for more. Now we're going to Frank's Inn, or we say in Danish, Frank's Ko.
By the looks of the decor in here, they serve tradition on every plate. Here to guide us through is General Manager Camilla. Frank's Inn has a reputation for focusing on the classics and for its fun atmosphere.
We love all the old traditional Danish dishes.
Camilla already has the drinks coming. I sense there may be singing before the night is through. First up on the menu is stegt flæsk med persillesauce, a must-have for me when I'm back in Denmark, and also the national dish here.
You know, I've been gone for a long time, and all of a sudden I heard that it was a vote, and you voted this?
Yes. Oh my God.
Look at that.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, that's what I love about Denmark, because that with all the political stuff that's going on, you have time to vote on stuff like that.
It was a big thing.
Like a lot of traditional food in Denmark, it's a simple peasant meal. But seeing it celebrated in a restaurant like here is a good sign to me. As Bo launches into another very interesting story, I find myself distracted by the idea that maybe Bo and Camilla are conspiring against me to make me drink more than I should. As they wave in another round, I realize how Americanized I've become. Though it seems excessive to me now, this is the tradition here. I'm just finding it hard to hang. Camilla is a charming host. The highlight of the evening was talking to Chef Frank and hearing his story firsthand. A prominent chef in the scene prior to Frank's Inn, Chef Frank focused his talent on tasting menus and cutting-edge ideas that underpinned the new Nordic food scene. But a constant need to be innovative left him feeling burned out. This is what sparked his interest.
We're not inventing food, we're just remaking food that's already been there. We don't have to invent new dishes, we just need to make them better.
Focusing on the fine execution of the simple classics. When you have mixed the ingredients of the evening together like this, what comes next is inevitable. Singing these little songs is a part of Danish tradition.
This is just the start. We're gonna sing more, right?
It's gonna get...
A sign that all is well in the moment. My stomach is very happy, but my liver hates me. And a perfect way to end an evening with new friends. Lunch and dinner marked off the list and faith restored. It's been a long day. Tomorrow I'm off to check on the state of Danish pastry.
If you want to see how Danish pastries is made, you have to get up early in the morning, and it doesn't matter how much schnapps and beer you had the day before.
Fittingly for this show, I'm here at Hot Bakery to see if anything has changed about the best pastry in the world.
They have some of the best Danish pastries in the country.
To welcome me, a spread of pastries and orange juice.
Croissant dough that we cut up and we mix it with cardamom sugar. And once we bake it, we dip it in clarified brown butter and vanilla syrup.
That sounds good. If you look at this, how flaky it is, and you can't really cut them because they will just flake out, and that's what it's supposed to be like.
There's no fresher pastries than the one that was just made, and it's perfect.
The dough is so flaky.
And just undeniable Denmark to me.
Just like I remembered it.
But at last, even here in my happy place, I'm not feeling tip-top at the moment. Look at me, chugging orange juice like my life is depending on it. Spending all of yesterday eating and drinking schnapps. I'm admittedly a little slower this morning, but despite the shape I'm in, to be standing in a pastry shop in Copenhagen again is surreal. The nostalgia is amplified by the fact that I'm standing in front of somebody else who's connected to my past. Carsten Kai, a teacher at the National Pastry School of Denmark and former student of my father. In 2022, Carsten was the recipient of the Golden Rose Award, an award given in memory of my dad, Gert Sorensen. He's here today connecting with students and working the line.
Another, of course, version of all the classical stuff, but you do it in a new way, right?
It's clear that Danish pastry is still held to the same standard of excellence. However, there has been some changes in the baking world since I left, but not to the pastry, to the process. The industry has made progressive moves to structure a better work schedule for bakers. And why not? Bakers deserve to have a quality of life as well. It seems like the only changes since I left are positive ones. While I may have found the answers to questions that brought me back to Denmark, I couldn't come to Copenhagen without reliving some of my past. For the extent of my youth, Tivoli Garden was a mainstay. It was where my father's pastry shop was located, where I learned to make pastries alongside the masters.
One thing's for certain is that everything changes, and it's bittersweet, but you can't stop it. I'm looking at this place. It used to be an incredible pastry store and my dad's pride and joy, and so there's a lot of memories here and just bittersweet.
The shop is gone. The building where it used to be is now home to a restaurant. Walking around the grounds here is surreal. In one way, it feels though that nothing has changed, and another, it's though everything has. But I'm not here solely to reminisce. I'm actually here to squeeze in an early dinner with the chef who mentored me, under whose tutelage I learned a hot kitchen and eventually found my way to the United States. I owe a lot to Jan Petersen. We're meeting at Grøften, a traditional Danish lunch spot and one of the best restaurants in all of Tivoli. Lapskaus is on the menu. Lapskaus is a beef and potato mash. It's a Danish comfort food and fitting for today's reunion.
Skål. Skål, my friend.
Food is love.
Yes.
It does my heart good to spend a little time with Jan, and at the same time it's bittersweet to be at Tivoli. To wrap up my time in Denmark, Bo has invited me to have dinner at his home with his wife Lisbeth and fellow chef and colleague Claus Christensen. Standing here in the shadow of these chefs, it's somewhat of a full circle moment.
It's a big mistake to lose your heritage, because we have a proud tradition of great food in Denmark.
On the menu for tonight is a smoked herring smørrebrød and lamb fricassee, classic Danish comfort food. It's simple but wonderful.
The last couple of days has shown us old-fashioned Danish food has a place on the map. Skål.
Skål.
For me, no trip to Denmark is complete without a stroll along the canal of Nyhavn.
We are at the famous Nyhavn in Copenhagen. There's restaurants, tattoo parlors, bars as far as the eye can see.
A lot of locals avoid this area as it's considered a place for tourists, but the bustle and the energy here still hold nostalgia for me. And there's not a better place to people watch and have a late afternoon snack. Despite living in America for the last 35 years, the way I feel about the people, the food, the traditions is tattooed to the fabric of who I am. My musical hero, Jimmy Buffett, once said that tattoos are a permanent reminder of a temporary feeling, but the feeling that I have for Danish tradition are more permanent than any ink can ever be. Still, an impromptu memento of this trip seems appropriate.
How would you say food is love in Danish?
Mad er kærlighed.
Mad er kærlighed.
The feeling that Copenhagen gives me hasn't faded. In its own way, this tattoo is a reminder to me that the Denmark I love is still alive and well. Traditional Danish food is still a very big part of things, and in a lot of cases, the new take of Danish food still pays an homage to the old classics. I feel fortunate to be here, spending this trip with some of the giants of my past, and finding that, for me, Danish food is love.
I want to finish off with a dish that is near and dear to my heart. Being in Adam Omen's garden, I thought it was proper for me to come to Theodore Farms here in Alton. They have everything you would want as a chef. New potatoes in a cream sauce with capers. We have herring fried and put in a sweet and sour brine. Spicy peppers to give it just a little bit spice to it, which you normally don't see in that steak seat. I used to, this was my dad. That's love. Food is love.
Okay, gumbo it is.
What if there was a way to feed the hungry and at the same time give them dignity?
The answer is this simple token.
We developed the currency at Caring to act as a form of payment for participating restaurants and food trucks, and is a key to providing a warm, dignified meal to those who need it most.
You want to try something new?
Donations fuel the currency. Now helping feed others has never been easier.
Either as a participating restaurant, food truck operator, or as someone who wants to pay it forward by donating. Please visit currencyofcaring.com because food really is love.
How do you become the top online seafood company in the United States? You earn it. We are the only company that catches, processes, and directly sells seafood right to our customers. We have a 4.9 Google rating with over 800 reviews and the highest customer satisfaction. To have the best seafood delivered right to your door, order from the original, WildAlaskaSalmonandSeafood.com. Look for my face on the logo to ensure you're getting the best. Now you know the guy that caught your dinner.